lot of people would remember you from the blog last year. What inspired you to apply?
Because we're crazy. Good, the bad, the ugly, so much hatred. And we got like death threats. The worst thing you can do is create this perfectionism. It's saying, hey, we're human and we make mistakes and we fall and we stumble, but we rise back up again. Art and colour for me was a real way of expressing myself. I think a lot of my makeup is quite graphic, so you can see the art in it rather than just like making the model look pretty.
And welcome to Foreign Influence. Today our interview is going to be very, very colorful because we've got a very creative person with us who is an artist, an inspiration to so many people. Also, she's a makeup artist, an entrepreneur, and some people might recognize her from the blog. We've got Tanya here with us. Tanya, thank you so much for being on our show today.
Of course, that's a very lovely, kind introduction. Thank you. It's a pleasure. I'm really excited to be here and chat to you.
When our production team have arrived to your house today, I think everybody had big smiles on their faces because your house is so beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
And we love the vibrancy of color in your home.
Thank you. Well, it's very rare that we have a blank wall, but it's good because we're wearing all the colour, right? That's always what I wanted. I always wanted to create a fun home and a home that when people came in, they just felt a little bit happy and joyful. But also I've got a young family, so I wanted them to feel like it was a fun home for them as well. And I think colour can do that.
How did that colour start? Like, tell me about your childhood.
I've always been really creative. I have dyslexia. Art and colour for me was a real way of expressing myself, and when I couldn't spell or read things properly, I focused a lot on decorating, right? Like decorating my project or decorating my workbook or my homework. And I think that it always, back then when I think about it, was a distraction, you know, so people wouldn't look at the mistake, which kind of feels like maybe my life right now. As in, you know, use the colour and the vibrancy to sometimes use it as a power to cover what maybe you're not so good at.
What were your favourite things to do in childhood?
In childhood, I was actually quite shy, which is surprising. But I am actually, I found out recently, I did a few personality tests and I found out that I'm actually a introverted extrovert. I was very shy as a kid, but I found my way and found my confidence in my creativity and in my art, but also through dance. So I danced for 18 years of my life, and so a lot of people saw a little bit of my performance side on the block when we did our...
Yep, I remember that.
Yeah. I think I dressed as Dolly Parton and we did our... But that was a huge turning point for me because I was so expressive. I loved dancing. I loved performing on stage. They say competence equals confidence. So that was a real moment for me where I felt confident, like I could do something. And yeah, it was a great way to express myself through dance and performing.
Let's talk about multiculturalism in your family.
Yes, so interesting, right?
Yeah, very, very interesting. So you were baptized as Greek Orthodox in your childhood, then you attended Catholic school.
Yep.
And as an adult, what religion did you choose?
I am a bit of a, and I've described this before, a bit of a minestrone, a bit of a mixed bag, right? When I grew up, it was kind of, you know, dad was Greek Orthodox, mum was Catholic. I was getting the best of both worlds. But when I got older, I chose to become a Christian for myself and for my family. But that actually came through my mum. The backstory is when my mum separated from my dad, it was quite a traumatic event, as it always is for the children, right? And mum turned to faith and she went to a Pentecostal Christian church, which now, you know, is a little bit more common. People kind of know what that means. It means those crazy people who sing and worship and praise and all that type of thing. But back then, it was kind of very weird. You know, people were like, oh my gosh, you're Catholic or you're Greek, you're going to change your religion. And oh my gosh, it was a big deal for mum to leave Catholicism and become a Christian. What does that mean? But for us, it was incredible. Like, it really gave us a sense of peace. It saved our family from really going through dark times. We felt really supported by the church community, and as an adult I took that on as a part of my family as well. It was a really great choice mum made for us, I think, and really helped shape us be the women we are, both me and my sister. We really felt we had that support, so it was really good.
For your children now, do you still continue going to the church with your children?
As a family, we go every Sunday, which is quite an old school practice for a lot of people, but I don't know, especially I guess in this day and age, I wanted my children to believe in something bigger than themselves. I really wanted them to have a faith, whatever that looked like. We chose this path, and so far it's been amazing. You know, it's great for finding identity, for believing, you know, never feeling alone, feeling like you can pray or you've got God as a part of your life. And I think it's just, a bit of an old school practice, but has so much value.
I like this self-empowerment that you promoting and encouraging your children to have in their lives, because when I visited your bathroom, you have all these very positive affirmations about believe in yourself, be the original, be unique, fearless. That's amazing.
Oh, thank you. Look, we try, not perfect parents, trust me.
No one's perfect.
But I think that's the beauty, right? It's the beauty of the imperfection. So even on the block, we got a lot of hate for, you know, imagine being their children, or I've never wanted to be perfect to my kids. I think the worst thing you can do is create this perfectionism. It's saying, hey, we're human and we make mistakes and we fall and we stumble, but we rise back up again, and we can, you know, smile at the face of adversity and be better, not bitter, kind of thing. It's not just a saying for us. There's moments where my kids have, you know, my son, he's had moments, you know, where he doesn't like school, and he's also got dyslexia and he struggles, but it's kind of about, well, how do we take this and make it our superpower? Or how do we turn it into something positive?
How did you and Vito meet? Because you met very young and you married very young.
We did. Vito and I met at our hairdressing salon that we both worked at. Because I did come from separated parents, I really had no intention of ever getting married at 21. That was not my big plan. But I always say, like, it must have been God's plan, right? Not mine. And I always say he gave me what I needed, not what I wanted. Because honestly, I was like, woo, I'm 21, I'm never getting married. Marriage's not for me, like, never. And then, weirdly enough, got married at 21. We met at the salon, which kind of sounds all a little bit cheeky, doesn't it? We were best friends.
Were you sneaking?
No.
Trying to hide it from others?
I literally had a boyfriend. Vito had a girlfriend. I used to get on the phone and call to order flowers for his girlfriends.
Oh,
just one.
Popular man.
Yeah, exactly. He was the one kind of rare hairdresser that, like, wasn't gay, right? So of course he had women coming after him because he's listening to all their problems. We were best mates. Eventually became, you know, boyfriend and girlfriend.
Well, obviously this is one of my paintings, and this is also still available on the website. So still for sale, but currently featured in my house. But a lot of my style is that, yes, it's colourful, but it has to also have a story. So for example, this is the first ever little flowers that my daughter picked from the garden. Remember when your kids would be like, look, Mum, I brought you back some, right? So when you decorate your home, and we try to do this on the blog as well, let it tell a story, because you can create art and it has meaning. So it kind of creates your home to have this beautiful little sentimental spots and spaces that really have a lot of heart. So
basically you frame memories.
Frame memories.
Tell me about your painting.
Well, this one is called Water Lily, because it's like you're looking at the water from a bird's eye view, but of course creating colours through reflection.
You and Vito built a house together, and
Yes.
you were just 21.
That's correct.
What was that like?
Many people didn't get to see this on the block. It wasn't part of our storyline, right? We had built our first home at 21, It was a big commitment. Like looking back, I was super young, right? Very inexperienced, but kind of glad that I did all that at a really young age. Worked full time, had a massive home loan for someone at 21.
Yeah.
And since then we've gone on to build 3 homes, including this one. Yeah, it kind of forces you to grow up really quickly. I didn't get to travel the world like a lot of my other friends. Oh, here comes our friend. Here we go.
Oh, very cute.
Stay. Let's get you on here because you're mummy's boy, aren't you? And there's a part of me that was glad I got to do all of that young. Because now I am kind of pretty free. You know, I got ahead of the game a little. So whilst there was lots of sacrifice that came with that, it was kind of good. It came with a lot of reward. Property is a great way to get ahead of the game, especially financially.
Well, you have very striking looks, which are not easy to forget. So a lot of people would remember you from the blog last year.
Yeah.
What inspired you to apply?
Look, for us, it came at the perfect time. Obviously, we applied it during the pandemic. I was genuinely like, we've just built this home. I'm not working. There's no work. Vita was actually fortunate enough. And we also own a blinds company called Nuri. And because the commercial market and the building industry was still operating, he was fortunate enough to still work. But I thought, let's just do something wild. Let's do something where we can win, potentially win a lot of money and really put ourselves out there and challenge ourselves.
And not stay bored during lockdown.
Oh my gosh, right? So during lockdown, we created our audition video, we applied for the block, had no idea if we'd get in or what we were getting ourselves into. And we made the cut. I used to wonder why. Now when I've seen my season, I totally know why we were selected.
Why?
Because we're crazy. It's and it's funny because people now ask me all the time, like, what do I do to get on? What do I do to... I'm like, just be yourself, but whatever that looks like, the good, the bad, the ugly, like all of it, you have to present all of it to the
audience,
casting agent, right? Because they really do look for a very unique type of person. I honestly say now to my casting agent, like, thank you for seeing the potential that we had and thinking that we could do it, because there were moments where I didn't think I could.
I love this. You do recognise this? Trademark. My love for terrazzo came from my nonna. So you remember the Europeans, they came, they put terrazzo everywhere. It was always on my nonna's, as soon as I used to walk up my nonna's steps to her house, she had the most amazing terrazzo. She was in West Brunswick, so where a lot of Europeans ended up. It reminds me of her, and I just love it. And these pink chips, they're just so cool up against the teal. It is a big, design risk because it doesn't always work, but I think we're living in a time where people are taking more risks and you can create a really unique space.
What would you like to say to those die-hard fans who watch the blog?
Firstly, sorry. Sorry I ruined your favourite show. But also...
They might say back, you made it the most interesting season.
Well, yeah, I think a lot of people don't understand it's a TV show. It's a renovation show, but before it's a renovation show, it's a reality TV show. Even though we are watching homes being built, that probably comes third down the list of what really happens on set. A lot of people have, interestingly enough, been incredibly supportive, and when you meet people in real life, you bring so much joy, which is bizarre because I thought that based on our season that I was going to walk the streets and we were going to get mobbed or have eggs thrown at us, right? Because there was a huge chunk within our season where people just was spilling so much hatred, and we got like death threats and
I'm so sorry to hear that.
It was really, like, that part of it was quite traumatic because you know what's happened, you know what you've filmed, you know what's gone on behind the scenes, and a lot of people don't get to see necessarily the full story or the real friendships and the laughter and the great stuff that we got to experience on the show. They've focused on the negative. The trolling is something that I believe at some point has to stop, like on social media. And as a society, I just had to always tell myself that happy, successful people don't troll people on the internet, and this has got nothing to do with me. It's a reflection on them, and to really just had to be like water off the duck's back. We were fortunate, like we got through to the other side because we've got so much support. And also, like weirdly enough, people in real life kind of like us, which shocked me.
How did that experience being on the block affect you?
I did think that I suffered trauma from that experience, even though the reality was so different. I did experience some anxiety, and I'm still working through that at the moment, but I do go through the process of even grieving kind of what my life used to be like. It sounds weird. Okay. Not that I'm in any way a big celebrity or anything like that, but I felt so free.
Well, you had exposure on national television, so you are very, very recognizable now, so I totally understand.
Yes. So it feels like when you go through something publicly, you feel the weight of the judgment, you know, and so many times I'd get anxiety because I would actually walk into a room and people would point and whisper, whether they were happy or mad or whatever it was. I could feel the energy, right, permeating, and it used to really affect me. Now it doesn't so much, which is amazing, but it's a big deal, like to go, you know, most people go through things in life and they have the privilege of privacy.
Yeah.
But for me, during that moment, I would go through things and it'd end up on the Daily Mail. And that's a very big shift for a normal, everyday person to go through. You don't really get coached on how to deal with that. I've got my publicists and my producers and things that I can chat to, but it can sometimes be a bit difficult because they're kind of the people that perpetuated the situation, right? Yeah, you
ignited
really,
that conflict.
Right, exactly. So you really got to rely on your close network of people, and I seeked help. I still speak to a counsellor just to process those feelings and to process how to go through those things, and I think that's really important.
And you had to come home and you had family. Did you have to talk to your children about the show?
The funny thing is a lot of people are like, oh, I'd hate to be their kids, imagine. And my children saw the full story, like the whole story of, they know parts that viewers never got to see. We absolutely adore every single couple on our season, and they love my children, and we get along despite, contrary to what you might have seen.
I had the privilege of meeting Josh a few months ago, and he spoke so warmly of you and Vito. Yeah, obviously you made such great friendship.
We love those boys so much. And all of them, like you go on a show with these people, you share this incredible experience, and of course, naturally, it's like family or people that you work with, live with them for long enough, and of course you're going to shit each other to tears. You haven't eaten, you haven't slept, you're building a house, you're in a competitive environment, so you're going to annoy one another, but the experience is so unique that bonds you together.
But this is my little workstation. Got my painting, and then you've got your little custom zip-up case. Oh, wow. Yeah, so it's all birthed out of these little ideas. And, you know, people kind of go, where did you create the artwork? It's like there's that one, and that's hiding over here. So this is the artwork. This is the actual real artwork. So they just get birthed out of these little little paintings. So these are, again, they're still all available on the website. But these are great, like honestly. This is where I put all my Panadol. No. And they've got, little custom zip-up cases that are just made out of canvas. And you know, sometimes you just gotta have a go. This is probably one of my absolute favourite. This is my foundation brush, and I really love it. Very, very, very soft.
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah, they're really
soft.
good. And like the price point, so 8 brushes is $79. It's a reasonable price point. The angle is really good. Yeah.
Sexy.
It is a little bit sexy.
Creative person expresses their talents in more ways than just one.
Yeah.
Tell me about your artwork.
Fortunately, I was able to create art on the block. And so it birthed something that I used to do just for a hobby. And now I have created another business out of. Obviously, I was a makeup artist. I've been a makeup artist for 15 years and I've been a successful makeup artist. I've worked with incredible people. I've traveled the world. I've done Milan Fashion Week. I ticked so many boxes.
Wow.
So I never ever thought that I'd be doing my art as a career. And it's bizarre because I think people thought I had this game plan going onto the block, but it just came automatically to me. I started painting just automatically on the block. I was like, oh, why would I buy art when I can paint it? And then it came, so it got birthed out of that, but it was never my intention.
Tanya, how do you combine your passion for art and your passion for makeup?
I mushed the two together, right? So I recently created a brush set. I've got a 28-piece brush set and an 8-piece brush set. The 28-piece is for those who are like, beauty junkie obsessed or a makeup artist. And then my 8-piece brush set is just for the everyday woman who's like, you know what, I use 2 brushes, but sure, I'll take the 8. I worked with an agency to create a brush range that I really loved, and then I used my artwork to create a little custom zip-up case that they come in. And that's multifunctional. Again, I'm also looking at other products now, so tea towels and even towels for the beach.
Yeah.
Umbrellas, just looking at what else we can create. But I loved the idea of combining the two things that I do naturally, which is art and makeup.
What do you like the most about being a makeup artist?
I love creating. So for me, obviously there is that lovely client relationship and you make people feel good, and it's so rewarding because people walk away feeling more confident and more beautiful. I mean, makeup is, again, I call it like a superpower, especially for us women, because it's just makes you feel more confident. Whether it's a lipstick or a mascara or whatever it is, when you leave the house, you're like, I'm ready now. So there's that side of it. But then I also am an editorial fashion artist. So I've been able to create some incredible artistic editorial shoots along the years. And that part of it really floats my boat. I've been able to work with Pat McGrath, who's the world's most famous makeup artist, and work alongside so many creative people, stylists, photographers. So collaborating with other people is probably what brings me the most joy, because it's the art of makeup artistry, not just making people look good. It's the art behind it, which has always been, again, like a part of who I am, right? So it's been really fun. Like a lot of my editorials have been in magazines, and it's funny because I'll have to show you, but a lot of them I use art as the influence to create the editorial. I think a lot of my makeup is quite graphic, so you can see the art in it rather than just like making the model look pretty.
Okay.
It's quite cool. I love that part of it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So I remember taking it back to this editorial that I created. Yeah, it's cool, isn't it? Well, this was the theme was alchemy, and this, as an artist, of course, I automatically thought of Brett Whiteley's painting called Alchemy.
One of my favorite artists.
Oh, isn't he incredible? What a story, though. Like, when you get to know him, it's quite heartbreaking, but he just used it, like, to create incredible art.
He left a mark.
Didn't he? Right? And so I used the painting to create the editorial. So a lot of my art, without even realising, has come through my makeup artistry anyway. And a lot of people kind of said, I can see when work is yours because you always use art as inspiration to create your editorials. And that's actually Olivia Molly Rogers. She was Miss Universe a few years back, and so creating something that's different for her, really stepping out of the comfort zone.
Well, thank you so much for being a part of our show.
Oh, it's a pleasure. It's amazing.
And we wish you all the best with your future endeavors.
Thank you so much.